Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here now and to be the host of a very important guest, and that he's also a very good friend of mine, Srinivasan. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. I know that it's always wrong, but I know that he's the most tolerant person worldwide, so he will forgive me. Srini, how do you start pronouncing your name properly?
I think you did very good. Great to see you, Luisa.
Great to see you. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to get in touch with you.
Absolutely, my pleasure too.
So first of all, I would like to say a few words about you. Most of the persons that are listening to us know you already, but just a few words from his very important bio. So I want to read all the things he's doing, all his roles. One of the most important roles at the present moment is the fact that he's the president of world.Design organization. Formerly was ICSID, as probably everybody might know. And he has been the first Indian president of this organization in its 62 years history. So it's a brilliant election. Congratulations to Srini. And this is on top of a long and important career as a designer and as an entrepreneur in creative design and technology development, both in the US, in the Silicon Valley, and in India. I think he represents really a very strong bridge between Western and Eastern country, and entering deeply in the culture, in the tradition, but also in all the advanced technology field. And of course, as you have understood, he has not so much free time. He travels all over the world because his company is based in the Silicon Valley, in India, and in Tokyo, just to make easy his life. And he's also professor. So he's also professor at Tonji University. I discovered it recently. Oh. Congratulations. And he's also member of its International Advisory Board. We will have the Dean of the College of Design and Innovation tomorrow morning, almost at the end of this conversation. So first of all, I would leave you the floor and trying to understand how you faced this very strange moment that we just that we are living.
Thank you, Luisa. First of all, it's great to see you. I'm so happy that you are my host for this next few minutes. It's indeed a great job that you are doing in connecting throughout the world at half-an-hour sessions to complete a 24-hour design conversations. It's a tremendous job that you're doing. Congratulations for bringing the world leaders in design together. That itself speaks very high about your initiative in contribution to the world of design. About me, as Luisa said, so I live in the Silicon Valley, but traveling, but this is the longest time I spent at home, more than 3 months, and my family is, of course, very happy to see me at home. And even though we are sitting at home, as most of you would have realized, the COVID pandemic has made us work more than what we normally would be doing. That's true for most of us, and certainly true for me. So I spend like 12 hours almost on a daily basis on connecting with the design community across the globe, be it my own projects at Lumium or at large the World Design Organization's communities on a regular basis. The board also is meeting once a month as opposed to once in 4 months. So that's a lot of work we do. And we connect with the communities across the globe. This morning, I had a 1.5 hour session from my 6 a.m. to 7:30 with all the Indian WDO members to learn how they are coping with the education. Most of them are educational pillar members, and I learned quite a bit in terms of the good news is they are not sitting idle. They're filling the next term. Most of the, in India, the semester starts, the new year starts in June, July, August timeframe. and they're already busy with the next year and planning to do the first semester or first term till December of this year on an online basis. Quickly, they are learning how to teach online. They're getting trained with the tools. Like the earlier speaker mentioned about, if this COVID happened 10 years ago, we will be really stuck because we wouldn't know how to cope with the technology to communicate digitally, almost as if we are speaking in front of the audience here. So that really helps. And what we did in the last 4 months during the height of COVID-19, so we came up with the idea to discuss and find solutions that are very applicable to the COVID affected areas. So we came up with the design challenge. We partnered with IBM and Design for America, and over a 3 intense week, we brought in 225 designers from across the globe and formed 21 teams and created 7 themes, and we discussed that. So all of the results are there at wdo.org. You can do a COVID challenge, you will see. So among those is the one that I'm going to talk about a little bit today, which are affecting the vulnerable community. So that's the word I chose, and I'm actually going to talk about it. So Luisa, do you want me to talk about the word?
Of course. First of all, before entering into the keyword that you have selected, I wanted just to mention your deep interest in sustainability, also due to your studies that you have done. And one of the first declaration that you said as a president of World Design Organization was that you wanted to really do to continue to support the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, as well as focus on creating meaningful programs to work alongside cities and large corporations that are making an impact on society. I think that this was before pandemic, before the COVID-19, and so probably you didn't think at that time that this promise that you said to all your members now.
Of course.
You are really doing all your best to turn it into reality.
Certainly.
In such a difficult moment.
Yes. So the 3 important mandates I took over when I got elected as a president and took charge in October 2019 in Hyderabad. The first one was to bring back the World Design Impact Prize that was put in abeyance for the last 2 terms. So we're making announcements very soon. So we are going to find, and the topic would include how the world is coping with the COVID-19 challenges and how the world is going to move towards supporting everybody, including the vulnerable community. And the second one is continue to push the SDG, the 17 goals that we have. And we have started working with other UN agencies as well. I'm happy to share with you that we have started working with other UN agencies to creating projects that will highlight the SDG that we have adopted. And the third one is we also are taking the WDO to our community rather than the community coming to WDO. So this was what I said back in October, not knowing that we will be stuck in our respective homes or cities where we live. But we truly are doing that because we are communicating with people much more than what we would have normally communicated. So this has come true, not knowing that COVID was going to be coming into the scenario out here. So we also brought in Young Designers Circle, which was one of the mandates that we had given ourselves 2 terms ago, back in 2017 in Torino. We wanted to get the younger designers involved, largely people who are just out of the design education and stepping into the real world, either as individual studios or as young designers of large corporates. So this initiative finally came into being, where we have 20 young designers selected from all over the globe. They're working on a regular basis among themselves under the guidance of our secretariat. And the goal would be for us to present the young designers' contribution with respect to sustainable development goals at the General Assembly in 2021 in October. The city is still to be decided because we just put out a call for the next WDA to happen in 2021. So I'm very happy and proud that finally we are able to bring the young designers to discuss among themselves what they can do to make this world a better world. So I'm super happy about that, and we will hear about it in due course.
Wonderful. I know that we are sharing the same interest in supporting young designers and offering to young designers opportunity to grow and to face new challenges. And now we go to the keywords that are two: vulnerable community.
Yes. So vulnerable community, the definition that we have given is vulnerable community is not necessarily old people. Vulnerable community is not necessarily poor people. Vulnerable community is not just homeless people or other marginalized communities. So what we mean by vulnerable people, or in the situation where COVID is stopping us from doing the normal things, so how vulnerable we are in our day-to-day scenario. And those are the things that we wanted to highlight in the design challenge. So at the team that worked on vulnerable communities came up with some wonderful solutions or prototyping of solutions, which I'm going to actually share with you. They came up with a lot of solutions, but I'm going to share just 5 of them, which are in my mind are the highlights at the top of them. You know, the first one come up to is a family hub. So there are a lot of people who are cognitive or mental as well as mobility related challenges that they are living with on a daily basis, and especially during the COVID times. So there is nobody that can go and help them. So that's why the family hub was one of those apps or the centers that was proposed, and where people with challenges can communicate and share their thoughts with the extended family. So that was one thing that was shortlisted by the jury. Second one was postcards for elders who are staying away. Most of us living in the metropolitan cities, we have this unfortunate situation of our parents not living with us together. They may be living nearby, but not necessarily in the same household. In the normal times, we go to visit them during weekends and holidays, or even during emergencies, we can just take a car or just take a train or even a flight and go and see them. But during the pandemic, everything come to a stop. So we wanted to help them. So one of the suggestions that came up from a very young team was to send special postcards on a regular basis, because the postal services were still running in the communities where we are talking about. So postcards that will give them encouragement, because not all the elderly community is technology savvy. They just necessarily do not go to Zoom and other technologies. They may not have access to those technologies. So postcards was a simpler old way of saying and greeting on a regular basis. If you're going to send a once a week postcard, like we used to write letters to our mom and dad way back when we are not together. So we wanted to bring that same old cultural habit that we are used to when we were young, to bring it to the current scenario whereby people can help. The third thing that came up was called Co-Guard, which is a mobile app that can navigate the vulnerable people to safer places. So this will connect with the GPS and highlight the areas which are unsafe for them not to go, or guide them to where they want to go, to essential places. Maybe you know that there is a store open at the end of your street, but today they are closed due to COVID. So instead of going all the way to find that shop is closed, this Co-Guard will help finding where they can go nearest to get some help they want to do. The next one is the most important. As we found out during our research phase in the COVID-19 challenge, the domestic violence is bad even during pre-COVID scenario, but during the COVID, it was found to be alarmingly high because of the closeness or the proximity that people are staying within their 4 walls. So that really was highlighted through the research, especially in certain regions. We saw the violence against women and especially children, because they do not know how to cope with the younger children. They are not knowing how the situation has changed. So the parents get irritated, and then the children gets abused physically as well as verbally. So that's something that we came up with. This was another beautiful sign. So we said not equal to sign was used, whereby In simpler terms, we can put a not equal to sign. You do two lines and a cross and leave it on your window, or you put it as a tattoo or a sticker on your finger, on your hands. So when you go and do this, this is something that people have been suffering silently for decades, but this will help them to come out and speak about the violence that is happening against them. So that was, I thought, one of the best solution that came about in this challenge that we did. And then the last one that we chose was bringing donors to help people who are in need. Even though people were employed profitably until recently, but suddenly after a few weeks, the company says, we are going to lay you off. So we saw this pretty much in the US, where 26 million people are going and asking for assistance from the government in the unemployment line. And that's something which is unprecedented. So if it is unprecedented, there are still some of the companies that are doing reasonably well, and there are enough people who can support these community through whatever little means that they can provide. So that was the fifth one that we thought was very useful for the vulnerable community. So here we looked at the vulnerability, which is more in terms of physical disability, safety issues, as well as economic vulnerability, and then the domestic violence where they are not able to handle some of the things. So these were the 5 projects that came up, and they came to the next step. There are so many other things that we discussed, but I thought these 5 I wanted to highlight and share it on this platform so people can take a look at it. So the other best part of our design challenge was all of the work that we did together with the 225 designers. They're all community property, and they're all coming on open source. Any one of them who can look at our website, they can take the project as they are left, and they can commercialize it, they can implement it, they can do either for profit, for non-profit. So they are all open source platform, and the IP belongs to the community in general. So if any one of you want to take advantage of that, you're most welcome.
This is really interesting. I have to say that I'm personally involved in collecting ideas by designers, international designers, for the municipality of Milan. Milan, as you might know, has been really heavily affected by the pandemic, and I think that all our community is now, we can consider it as vulnerable, each from all different points of view, from an economical point of view, but also from a psychological point of view. There is now the difficulty to restart. Now at the beginning was difficult to remain at home. Now we have the difficulty to start to go outside and be and feel safe even if we are not at home. So I think that it will be interesting to try. I will go and look to the solutions, also because also in this case we are collecting ideas that are open source and that we can share with the broader community. I think that is a moment in which we cannot keep ownership but we have to really share knowledge, innovation, and solutions in a difficult moment. What I can say from the solutions that you are mentioning, it comes out how World Design Organization open his perspective from a pure industrial design field to a broader design field.
Yeah, Luisa,
what do you say?
Yeah, I think we when we changed the name, we truly wanted to change the name in a sense that that will help us go far. So we did not, when the industrial design definition was expanded to include services and other faculties, universal design and experiences is what we wanted to do. We truly wanted to give a broader perspective, and I'm happy that it's getting pursued by others outside. We also started cooperating with the other agencies, namely Cumulus, as you know very well.
Yeah.
So we are working together to see partner. The goal number 17 is very relevant for us. We wanted to see how we can partner with other agencies, because it's no longer one's own territory. It's a global landscape. We want to make sure that everybody participates for creating a better world, which is our motto.
Yes, thanks to Luisa. Thanks to Luisa Bocchietto, that was the past president of World Design Organization, and thanks to Srini now, and to Mariana Matullo, who is the present president of Cumulus. We really started this collaboration that we don't know why it didn't happen many years in the past, but we were able, as a small community of persons that are really thinking of the importance of collaboration and not of competing, that it was the right time to collaborate. Cumulus in the field of design education, and World Design Organization more in the field of professional organizations and companies. Of course, these are the focus. Then we are sharing and crossing interests. In thinking to also the future, Ezio Manzini is always saying that to be designer means to be optimistic. What do you think about our next future and about the role of design?
I think I know that a lot of design companies are currently struggling to meet because of the people's focus have gone towards other challenges in life. But I'm confident that design has a way to come back and create more solutions. So I'm very optimistic that design will come back. When the pandemic, people are learning. As I said earlier, when I talked to the different members of our community at large, so they are, because human beings are not going to keep quiet. They're not going to sit in a corner and start crying, saying, what do I do? When do I die? They're not going to do that. They're going to find ways as to what else they can do. In the same manner, we will find ways to work together with the industry, with the cities, with the other communities, which are design related or non-design related. I'm very optimistic that this will change very soon, and we will see how to cope. So there is, I'm not going to say post-COVID. We're going to learn how to live with COVID for the next few months, maybe even a year. And in the meantime, we're going to find ways to continue our life in the best manner. I think fear is the main reason for us to start thinking, like you mentioned, even though Milano is opened out, but people are still thinking, should I go out or not? Because the catastrophic effects are still in people's mind. People cannot forget the number of people that we lost due to this pandemic. And dear ones are gone. So you have friends and relatives and parents. So a lot of people have gone. So we want to really be careful. We don't want to add to this. That's one of the reasons why, even though they are opening out, we see more cases coming, and then you shrink back again and worry about what to do next. So I'm very optimistic in a general sense that this will change soon.
Yeah, this is difficult right now to find the right balance, because if young people are meeting and are doing too much parties in the street, then our major is becoming angry with them. But if everybody is staying at home, he's always not becoming angry, but worried about commercial activities, about business that doesn't start anymore in the city. So we are really in a moment that we have to redesign our everyday life, from my point of view.
We have to redesign ourselves. The best part of the COVID is people have learned to, if men were not doing the cooking, they're learning to cook, and they're learning to cope with the home life, and in good harmony. So I think this is a good thing for a lot of us, learning new skills and new ways of handling the challenges, which we never got in our life.
Yeah, and I think that we had all of us, we had to choose in a very quick way where we belong, in which place do we want to stay, to whom we belong, what is really important for our daily life, and what is for us something that we can really avoid. So we have to take all these sort of decisions in a very quick and also emotional way.
Absolutely. So how is the situation in your university, Politecnico di Milano?
we are right now closing the second semester, and we are designing the next semester in a very broad way. So we have to design it in a multi solution. So we have to be ready either to open 100%, either to close 100% and to everything on distance like we did in this semester. We had to turn the whole education of this whole semester in 2 weeks from in presence to on distance. So we really had to redesign all the processes, everything. And and the third solution is to design something in between. So to be a little bit part in presence and part on distance. And this is the most challenging because it's a hybrid solution that it's still to be designed. And so this is the next challenge we have to face. And we hope at least to have some parts in presence, to look students in the eyes, to feel the emotions, to have a bit of, I was closing today my semester, my course with the students. I was feeling a bit, I was missing a bit of irony, no jokes. When you're doing online education, no jokes, no great efficiency. Everything is planned.
Right,
no serendipity. No, you don't just go through somebody and you discover something interesting. So it's
some of the human factors are taking a hit, right? That's the bad part. So when I was talking to the other educational members, one of the challenges that they came up was for the industrial design educators, right? It's very important for us to make the students, feel and touch the material, right? We want to know how to do that, how to start working in a workshop. So those are some of the difficult aspects of teaching, because digital technology is easy to teach. We can look at online screens and we can do. Maybe the technologies like augmented reality and virtual reality may help us to understand. While I'm looking at some of the devices here, and you could be watching it from Milan and saying, oh, no, not that way, Srini, but do it this way. It's possible. Maybe we are going towards that era where we have to use AR and VR technologies in teaching people the ability to feel and touch, and those kind of things we need to give them. So I think that's something which we will eventually gravitate towards, maybe pandemic or no pandemic.
Yeah. And you are an expert of technology and of design, so we are waiting for your solutions for our next semester. Just give us some ideas in order to really match physical dimension with safety, to be safe, to keep the right distance, but also not to miss all this richness of our daily life.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. And as you probably know, I'm going to be in your institutions in February, just for a week, to present a
workshop.
Of
course, I'm waiting for you. Thank you very much. We have
Thank
to
you,
leave.
Luisa. It was great to connect with you. Yeah.
Really, thank you very much.